Everybody, let's take a look at the article of the day that we have here. This is an article on chess.com. This was published yesterday, August 30th, 2024, at I guess 2:46 p.m. So the article is titled 121 win streak. Professor finds Nakamura's winning streak statistically normal. Kramnik dismisses it. Lovely. All right. A new study by one of the world's leading statisticians has found that GMHikaru Nakamura's impressive streaks on stream, by the way, against high-level opponents on chess.com are well within the expected probabilities. GM Vladimir Kramnik strongly criticizes the report, dismissing it as completely ridiculous and accusing chess.com of obvious manipulation. Lovely. Okay. Jeffrey S. Rosenthal is a professor of statistics at the University of Toronto and a globally recognized expert in probability and statistics. He is the author of several acclaimed books such as Struck by Lightning, The Curious World of Probabilities, and is well known for his ability to explain complex statistical concepts to the public. He also has a lifelong passion for chess and enjoys the game as a hobby. Okay, so there's a video, but I think this is like a 30-minute video, so we're not going to watch it. But I think the statistics professor probably goes into all this stuff. As I said, it's 30 minutes, so we'll keep going with the article rather than jumping into it. Okay, Rosenthal's conclusion. Not particularly surprising. The Canadian professor has released a new 12-page paper titled Probabilities of Streaks in Online Chess, which was done in response to a suggestion by chess.com. In the study, he meticulously analyzed Nakamura's win streaks based on the American Grandmaster's 57,421 games on the platform from 2014 to 2024. Now, this, by the way, is one of the things that I'm proudest of. I'm going to be honest, is that I have played so many games on the site. There's so many data points that I've given to chess.com, and I'm very, very proud of that. So I'm not going to go into the paper. I mean, I can click on it and scroll through it. Let's see if I'm going to understand any of it. Probably I'm not going to. Okay. There's a bunch of math. Yeah, I'm not going to. I know you can't see it because it's a little bit off. Maybe I've got a better. Is this better? Maybe this is better. One second. Let me see if I can even follow any of it. If I can't follow it, I don't think Kramnik can either. Okay. Yeah, this is chess. This looks like a legit paper though. It's by University of Toronto. Introduction, chess rating, expect source. I am not a data scientist, surprisingly. I know you guys, nor am I a statistician. Okay, so bunch of stuff, and on we go. All right, let's get back to the article and let's change the scene. Yeah, so yeah, I don't know what the TLDR is, but basically it says they're normal, I think. Okay, so it says Rosenthal noted that his study should be viewed as an investigation of unlikely streaks and not the broader issue of cheating in online chess. In his detailed analysis of Nakamura's performance, Rosenthal focused on one of the streaks in Online Blitz, where he scored 45.5 out of 46. Now, the funny thing about this streak is that I believe, if this is a streak that I'm recalling, this is a streak where I beat Chess Brainiac, who is playing in this tournament in New York. I think I beat him like 19 or 20 games in a row, if I'm not mistaken. So if I'm right, it's kind of interesting that the kid who I beat there is actually playing in a tournament right now. This statistical analysis indicates that Hikaru's online chess winning streaks are not particularly surprising. His recent controversial streak of length 46 is well within expected levels, Rosenthal concluded in his study. The statistical analysis indicates that Hikaru's online chess winning streaks are not particularly surprising. His recent controversial streak of length 46 is well within expected levels. Now, it's funny it says controversial because I think it was controversial to literally one person and nobody else. But let's keep going. Jeffrey Rosenthal, professor in statistics, University of Toronto. Nakamura, currently the world number 2 in classical and blitz, came under scrutiny by Vladimir Kramnik last year, with the former world champion questioning his winning streak, saying somewhat cryptically, "I believe that everyone would find this interesting." Kramnik called for further investigation of the probability of such a streak, and while not explicitly accusing Nakamura of cheating, I love how everybody says this because they're afraid of they're afraid of him getting angry and like filing a lawsuit or something. We know full well what he meant, not explicitly accusing. I mean, it's hilarious. He created that, literally he created a petition on was it change.org? He created a petition and did so many different things that it's pretty comical actually. But let's keep going. Okay. And while not explicitly accusing Nakamura of cheating, the global chess community has interpreted Kramnik's comments as a clear insinuation of foul play. Kramnik wrote in a blog post on chess.com, having checked Hikaru's statistics carefully, I have found numerous low probability performances both of him and some of his opponents, some of which have extremely low mathematical probability according to mathematicians, way below 1% according to the calculations of those professional mathematicians. Hilarious. Rosenthal. Things that seem rare are not necessarily rare. However, Rosenthal's study found that Nakamura's streaks, while exceptional, fall well within the statistical expectations for a player of his caliber. Things that seem really rare are not necessarily really rare when you look at them in the right context, Rosenthal explained to chess.com in an interview. Now, the most important thing that I'm going to say here is, I don't know, do they talk about other people or not? I don't know if they do, but one of the things that I know Kramnik has always been complaining about is he always goes and says, well, nobody else has streaks like this. Magnus and Fabiano and everybody else, they don't have streaks like that. The reality is the reason these streaks don't exist with other players is because they have no incentive to play online. For me as a streamer and a content creator, I spend so much time online playing online chess seriously in a way that they don't. I firmly believe that if Magnus or Fabiano really wanted to, get online and start grinding and playing serious 3-0 blitz every day for like weeks, months, and years, I'm pretty confident that Fabiano could find the right people and farm for 30 plus games too. And I'm sure Magnus could without a doubt as well if he was happy to play +1 or +2 per game. So that's one point that I do want to make, because I think a lot of people, that is the one thing that I am aware of. Fabi tried streaking and did get a 20 plus game streak farming. Yeah, I mean, exactly. The fact is, though, outside of myself and I guess Daniel Naroditsky, there are, I mean, I can't think of anybody else really. Maybe Nihal plays quite a bit, but I can't think of anybody else who actually basically spends all day long playing chess online. I literally can't think of anybody else. Jose doesn't farm, though. I feel like Jose is playing Title Tuesday. Like, if you look at Title Tuesday or Arena Kings or all these events, like, of course no one's gonna be able to do it, not even me, because it's not possible. You're playing against really strong competition. But when you're able to find the weaker players who you think are inflated and you play them at +1 or +2 and you go farming, I think anybody could do that. Any of the top 10 players, Nepo I'm sure could do it quite easily. And that's the reality. So how does Magnus have a high rating? Because he's just the best and he dominates Title Tuesday. That's why. But let's keep going with the article. It says, using the ELO rating system, Rosenthal calculated the likelihood of such streaks occurring naturally. He noted that Nakamura's 45.5 out of 46 streak had a probability of about 1 chance in 830, which is not very unlikely given the number of chances he has had over the course of more than 50,000 games. A sequence of 57,421 games has about 57,421 divided by 46, or 1,248 different non-overlapping independent chances to achieve a strength of that length. So finding one with a probability of 1 in 830 is actually very likely. Exactly. Analysis of Nakamura's most notable streaks. The study also analyzed the probability for Nakamura's longer winning streaks, defined as a sequence of games with no losses and at most 1 draw. Rosenthal found a total of 226 streaks that lasted more than 30 games, with the longest being 121 games. Nakamura's average opposition was less than 1,600 in those games. Now, this was one thing I wanted to point out. When you look at the 121 games, I'm pretty sure that the 121 game streak occurred during the pandemic when we were playing against subscribers of the channel. So a lot of those players were like 1,500, if I'm not mistaken, especially since the average opposition was less than 1,600 in those games. So it was during the glory days when I was playing subscribers of our community. And the 121 is yeah, it's not as impressive as it looks. So Rosenthal noted the long streak does not necessarily need to be unlikely. His probability of scoring at least 120.5 on those 121 games works out to 1 divided by 8.9, which is not particularly unlikely at all. Among Nakamura's most notable streaks, only 2 are considerably less likely than his 45.5 out of 46 score, according to Rosenthal's study. These very unlikely things, 1 chance in 9,000 or 1 chance in 11,000 streaks, something like 43% of the time there was at least one such streak, Rosenthal said, referring to line 4 and 6 in the table below. So number 4 and 6 in the table, this is streak number is 2415. So this is 2018, I guess. What is the length is 57. I scored 56.5 out of 57. Expected score was 49.2, which is already pretty amazing, by the way. pretty amazing. I'm expected to score that high to begin with, and then it gives like this high probability. And then there's number 6, which is in 2020, which is March 12th, which is right during the heart of the pandemic. Is this when I pounded? This might have been when I set my record, actually. The initial record. I think I beat R2 a bunch of games, or R2D2 or whoever it was, if this was 312. I know I set my record in March of 2020, the initial record before, of course, all the ratings went up, and I scored 40.5 out of 41, and the expected is 33.3. So, all right, let's keep going. And by the way, I'm pretty sure that all this stuff is was on stream, so my mods can try and find it. I also would point out that if we do have these streaks, we're gonna be making more of these videos of these streaks and putting them on the YouTube channel, because I'm sure people want to see them. Just to keep an eye on that for the YouTube with the YouTube channel. All right, okay. To further validate the streaks, the professor conducted Monte Carlo simulations, a method that uses repeated random sampling to estimate the likelihood of different outcomes. By simulating thousands of random game sequences based on Nakamura's rating and the ratings of his opponents, Rosenthal found that the probability of achieving a streak of like 45.5 out of 46 was actually quite reasonable. In each simulation, Rosenthal recorded the length and frequency of winning streaks that matched or exceeded those observed in Nakamura's actual games. The results provided a distribution of streak lengths and frequencies, which Rosenthal then compared to Nakamura's real performance. Okay. Rosenthal noted, we see from the graph that while the actual values 11,570.6 and 9,452.1 are larger than many of the simulated maximum 1 probability values, there are also many simulated probability values which are much larger than that. Indeed, the largest simulated probability value is over 284,000, and the mean simulated probability value is over 26,000, and even the median simulated probability value is 10,461.92, which is close to Hikaru's 11,570.6 value. In fact, in 43 of the 100 simulations, nearly half, the least likely streak is less likely than the observed 1 in 11,570.61. This further confirms that Hikaru's least likely streaks are not surprising over such a long collection of games. So, pretty normal. Not too surprising, of course. As we keep going, it says, in his conclusion, the professor, what about the chance of the opponent falling for Hikaru's tricks, or they simply blunder? Well, I mean, this goes before you get into all the obvious things that happen, featuring, I think, tilt. Like if someone has bad openings and you beat them out of the opening every game, that doesn't mean you're cheating. It just means they need to learn better openings. Then there's tilt. Then there's playing for flag. There are many little nuances there. In his conclusion, the professor noted that even though the raw probabilities of Nakamura's least likely streaks are each about 1 in 10,000, the chance of achieving such streaks over the course of so many games is still shown above 10% and about 43% in Monte Carlo simulations. In other words, not very unlikely. Okay, 10% is just like one standard deviation, nothing. Yeah, I mean, I don't know exactly what that means, but I'm not a mathematician, and neither is Kramnik. Having two such notable streaks is somewhat less likely, but still occurs about 18% of the time, well within usual statistical variability. Overall, the streaks observed in Hikaru's chess.com record are fairly typical given the ratings of the players over Hikaru's long record of games. Kramnik's response: completely ridiculous. Yes, I love how he doesn't you know, one thing that I will say that I find amazing about all of this is, as someone who actually does know some mathematicians and scientists, like computer scientists specifically, the one thing that all these people really have in common is they're always looking for the data. They're always crunching numbers. They're looking for the truth. And it's kind of common. Look, Kramnik's basically trying to put on a hat as though he's a mathematician, and meanwhile he doesn't say anything at all. He just throws out verbiage like completely ridiculous, interesting, nonsense, this, that, and the other thing. He never actually says anything relevant to the discussion. Let's keep going. While the findings suggest Nakamura's streaks are statistically normal, Kramnik has dismissed the study in strong terms. Responding to chess.com's request for a comment to the story, the former world champion sent several emails describing it as, in quotes, a ridiculous report that just doesn't make any sense, a joke, and disgusting. Now, this is hilarious. You have a professor in statistics at the University of Toronto who's pretty prominent. He's written books, as you can see it. We mentioned it earlier, like Struck by Lightning, The Curious World of Probabilities. You have a professor who's written books, clearly very well respected, and Kramnik suddenly thinks he knows better than this person. I mean, it's literally as though, I'll give you a good example because I've been watching a lot of tennis lately. I watched Alcaraz lose 2 nights ago, and I did watch the end of Djokovic match. It would be like last night. I'm watching Djokovic's match, And like basically I keep saying it's like I tell jokers, man, you're hitting the ball too much in the center of court to his forehand. Just hit it to the backhand every single time. Change the pace. Do this or that. Like it literally would be like if I'm saying that. It's like if I say that, like as someone who doesn't, I mean, I follow tennis, but obviously I don't know anything about it, you know, at a serious level. It's the same kind of thing. It's like I say this. And like obviously I'm full of nonsense. I don't know what I'm saying, but I might think that I do. And it's the same thing here where Kramnik just like he's literally a complete beginner. He doesn't know anything about statistics or mathematics, and he's acting as though he's a genius. And it's really sad to see. It is really quite sad to see. That being said, I don't think Kramnik's ultimate reason for doing it is because he thinks that cheating is a serious issue. I don't. I think he's doing it because he has ulterior motives, and I believe that for a long time. But anyway, let's keep going. Okay. With all due respect, this research is just another manipulation. I can stand by my statement and prove it in direct conversation with this gentleman. I think he is misinformed or doesn't know much about chess. Kramnik said of Rosenthal. Oh man, really sad to see. With all due respect, or no, this is just the quote again. Let's keep going. He further claimed that the professor made at least 5 major mistakes in the study, such as mixing different time controls and analyzing the streaks and using the ELO rating system to calculate probabilities within chess.com's Glyco system. It's a basic primitive mistake. It makes the whole research wrong. It's just really ridiculous. Believe me, bro. Trust me, bro, right? Trust me, bro. But the fact of the matter is, at the end of the day, it's very clear to me that farming, everybody can farm if they want to, and he can complain all he wants about it, but if someone farms their way up to 2,900 or 3,000 and they're overrated by 200 points, that's just the name of the game. And if I'm able to take advantage of those players and just crush them over and over and over again, that's not my problem, nor is it the player's problem for being able to try and get their ratings super high. So Kramnik also accuses chess.com CEO Eric Alves of obvious manipulation, suggesting he intentionally provided the professor with completely wrong data. He challenged Rosenthal to a live discussion to debate the study's findings and stated he has already recorded a YouTube video detailing his criticisms in more depth. I mean, it's just sad to see. Conclusions align with independent analysis. The findings in Rosenthal's studies are supported by conclusions in 2 independent studies, Kramnik versus Nakamura or Bayes versus p-value, conducted by Shiva Maharaj, Nick Polson, and Vadim Sokolov, used Bayesian methods to analyze Nakamura's performance. Their analysis concluded that the probability of Nakamura cheating was extremely low. Another independent analysis by software engineer Kirill Bobirev also concluded that winning streaks found in top players' online blitz games on chess.com are not statistically improbable. Last week, Kenneth Regan, the American professor in statistics, also commented on Kramnik's many posts on X Twitter. They're not normalized. He does not do the statistical techniques that are required to establish a benchmark of reference, whereas I have. I have a predictive analytic model. I set expectations. I know the confidence intervals around them. These are basic statistical vocabularies that have been known since the 1700s, but absent from his post, he said during a broadcast of Clash of Claims. Ouch. Basic statistical vocabularies that have been known since the 1700s. Brutal. That's a brutal takedown. And there's one final note. Professor Jeffrey S. Rosenthal noted that he did not receive any compensation from chess.com for his work. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty comical. We all knew this already. All the games are on stream. We'll be putting more videos of the streaks if we can find them and go from there. So yeah, I mean, it's just sad to see. He's completely wrong. The bottom line is there are many differences, and I would actually, you know what I would say? If I could go and play over the board in the same volume that I play online, I could go farm like at 2,300 for like, and I could beat them 4 games a day to gain FIDE points. I probably could inflate my rating over the board the same way that it's inflated online. Like that's what's really sad, is that Kramnik doesn't fundamentally understand what farming is, how much of a difference the mouse does make in terms of trying to flag people, and also people starting to tilt after they lose 1 or 2 games. If you lose 2 or 3 games, you're going to start losing more games, and probably losing worse than you were at the start. It's like, for example, if I played Artune, I think this morning, and the first game or maybe it was the first or second game, he was completely winning, he messed it up, I think he drew or lost, and then the next game he lost horribly to me. He just lost, he just fell apart completely. And those sorts of things, I mean, Kramnik knows better. He does. He's a chess player. He knows that psychology matters in chess. So it's just very disingenuous from him. And as I've said a few times, he's doing it for ulterior motives. One, I think, is to try, I guess, and get some publicity on a YouTube channel. And the second thing is that I think he's doing it because there are influences around him who believe they've been wronged, and they're whispering in his ear. And the third thing that I believe very clearly is that he's trying to promote this other online platform because he probably has shares or something in it, something along those lines. So those are the three reasons. I think. You think Kramnik considers farming as a form of cheating? Okay, well that's his problem. That's his problem. He thinks that if you find someone weaker who you beat 10 games in a row, that's cheating. Well, that happens at all levels, so then I guess everyone is cheating, right? Then I guess he is right. But anyway, yeah. So all right, you guys, that's gonna be it for the article. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, make sure that you smash that subscribe button below, and we'll be back soon with some more great content here on YouTube. See you guys. Bye.